Not everybody is a great conqueror. A lot of people just climb a little molehill, they get a few things done, they never completely do it, and that's their pattern. It would take work to get out of it. Okay, so when you get to the outer planets, the Mars, Jupiter, Saturn hold together. The Moon, Mercury, Venus, and into the Sun, they kind of are one special story. As that confidence builds up in the Sun, then you can put the energy out. If the confidence doesn't build up in the Sun, you're putting energy without confidence. It's going to be hard to succeed, and you're going to think it's not fair. When you get the planets beyond Saturn, Saturn sets the rules and the defenses. These are the things that have to be done. These are the responsibilities, the duties. The outer planets disrupt Saturn. They try to weaken Saturn and encourage you with Mars, encourage you to have experiences, to get away without having to listen to all the rules. Why take all that time when you can do something faster? Why have to deal with all that pressure when you can work around it? You can avoid it. You know, like, so why face all the biggest hassles? Because when you can just do something different, do you take the risk? So there's a risk factor with all the other planets. There are extreme factors that come in that shock, tempt, confront the Mars. Beyond normal rationalization, beyond the Saturn-Jupiter understanding. They're extremes. Anyone who's done something extreme, there's an influence of one of the outer planets extreme there. And great accomplishments come under it, great failures come under it. But there's always a cost to what you do. If you push your energy out to do something, you have to fight the war, you have to climb the mountain. That's great, but then often there's just somebody at home or the kids at home you had to ignore to go do that. So you're busy being the kid instead of taking care of your kids. Kids are going to go up a little angry, a little just so dad did that, or challenged by that. So when you're looking at a natal chart and you see these difficult aspects to a planet, the outer planets to the inner planets are the most extreme. So Uranus, Neptune, Pluto to the Moon, or to Mercury, or to Venus have extreme things. To the Sun, to the Mars, you can see how it affects your behavior, or challenges your behavior. When it gets to Jupiter and Saturn, it's there. It's harder to see specifically. It's harder to focus on. To try and define it is more difficult. But when you get Uranus to the Mars, Uranus is a planet of excitement, of change, of sudden change. Today, Uranus just went into Taurus. It's a change of 7 years. From being, all the excitement came from being the rebel force fighting the Death Star, fighting the evil empire. You had all the rebels and the people fighting the governments and all these wars and being fought. And coming up, that's been the Uranus and Aries. In Taurus, it's a lot, that excitement of Uranus is going to be a lot more in money or in around who owns what land or having things independently or losing things independently. It's going to be more about physical things, earthly things, about what am I getting. It goes into from a Mars rulership to a Venus. And if I don't get lost out in that, it's just change, happened to be changing today. But Uranus starts in a certain point in your chart. In 84 years, it goes around once. It's going to hit those planets once. But the aspects you start with are the ones that are that are natural to you. So Uranus is excitement. It changes things. It's innovative. It's trying to make something different, do something a different way, to be a little more free, to break the old rules, to go beyond the old system. It's exciting. Thank heaven some people can do this, and everybody's just not stuck in the system completely. So this is the excitement of Uranus. When Uranus conjuncts or squares or opposes Mars, that excitement, that shockingness, that high frequency lightning of Uranus, if it has a direct aspect to Mars, it's not going to make Mars more calm. It's going to excite it. It's going to shock it up. It's going to extremify. It's going to make it more independent or more radical or more restless or more reckless, more innovative. Mars is going to be less inclined to listen to Saturn, to listen to rules. Take this job and shove it could be the theme song. But it can also include your sexuality. Take this sex and shove it. That's done. I'm going. I'm not sticking around. You know, who needs this? It makes someone unstable. Someone with Uranus conjunct or square or opposed their Mars is not likely to be stable at work. It's not likely to be stable in a relationship sexually. They'll be volatile. It's whereas Mars to Mercury creates a restlessness and a sarcasm. Mars to the Sun creates a pride and arrogance. But Uranus and Mars to the Moon creates an impatience and a restlessness. But Uranus to the Mars creates a volatile intolerance with Mars. It makes a person accident prone. It makes them push too quickly without the defenses, without the discipline. So it makes someone, what do they call it, hyper, in school, they have a name for the hyperactive kids, or the kids that can't sit still. And they have this volatility. They may be afraid of competitive sports because they could get hurt. They may be accident prone or klutzy. But the normal rules aren't going to work for them because they're not going to achieve. So they have to find a different way of doing things, even if it is klutzy. So this means someone Uranus turns Mars, they want to do something. They don't want to do the normal things. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to try and do it themselves. They want to wing it, and don't hold the bike. Let me crash it myself. But they're going to be a little more fragile around their strength because they'll have situations in their life that disrupt and push it too far. It's exciting. They go for oops, tripped, oops, smash, oops, this. I'm from one person. I mean, when these pile up, these aspects pile up. Like you might have a whole three or four different aspects happening. So the Mars, Moon to Mars, Moon to Uranus, Uranus to Mars. It would just increase the Uranus hits each planet. And it's like until it gets down to the Moon, which is the most extreme one. But this means your behavior, your energy to be stable in a job, to work, it's unstable. But a lot of truck drivers would have, a lot of people traveling might have this. But they take, a lot of actors might have it because they get the excitement and they change their job. The job's going to change all the time. Well, the same energy to job is going to happen around the sexuality. It'd be high frequency there. It's a little neurotic, a little hyper, unstable, restless. If Mars is making an aspect to the Mercury or the Moon, it's going to take that impatience and dump it on these other planets, on the more personal planets. But really, Uranus is destabilizing the Mars. So someone can have that. You still have to learn to use your Mars, and you're still going to find freedom in the house or independence in the house where Uranus is. But you still have to use your Mars, and they're going to be at odds with other always. So sometimes you say, oh, that's the freedom. Sometimes I got to do this, I can't do this. It's going to create these things, but you still have to use your Mars in the sign in the house it's in to make it real. As you do that, it's going to trigger this anxiety with Uranus. So to yourself, that's just normal. It's only when you start being in school and competing with other people and you realize other people can be competitive without getting hurt, without having these vulnerabilities. And then you tend to back off a little bit. Okay, it's just, it excites, it makes someone angry. Someone can have super temper, super anger, super disruptions. Someone can have really premature ejaculations, or it's just there's some little thing that's going to come in here. There's a temperament, there's an edginess, and almost a tremendous intolerance in putting up with a stable, regular job. I don't want to be a secretary forever. I'm doing my own thing. I'm out of here. I'll try something new, anything. Or if it becomes fearful, once you've been burned a few times from it, I'm never going to try it. You can become overcautious to avoid ever using your Mars. So if your Mars is afflicted like that, you might try and concentrate and make other planets more stronger, or to reinforce the Venus, to reinforce the Mercury, to compensate for the klutzy Mars. The Mars can still accomplish things. It's just if you have Uranus there, you really need to work your Saturn. You want to do something exciting, different, you really need to get prepared and do the work so that when you do it, you're in shape and it's not going to fold. If you're not in shape for sure, you're going to get hurt by it. But it doesn't mean you're not going to try. It just means there's this accident-prone quality. So when you're 16 and you think you got to have a car, and your parents say, no way. You're not responsible enough. It's probably true, but you'll still go out with some people with their cars and probably get caught with something going wrong when you haven't. Like Saturn's the father, the authority, it's also the laws. There's this radical tendency. Not everybody has Uranus square to Mars or conjunct or square to Mars. It's going to be against the law. They're just going to not fit into the norm. Once you get used to that, you can start working with the energy that you have left. How to use it with the right habits, right discipline. You can use even afflicted Mars very well. So afflicted means Mars with difficult aspects to it. Just a technical astrological term. It tends to be too negatively worked into, but just this high strongness, this not so competitive, this disruption of the normal Mars functions. That's Uranus influence. When it's conjunct, square, or opposed, it's distinctly noticeable. When it's not, I mean, there's always this relationship to it where you can always do something and get an accident, but normally if you don't have the difficult aspects, you're not inclined to attract that. It can happen by transits, it can happen by progressions, it can happen on other levels, and we still can have some experiences sometimes of this. Everybody falls over and trips sometimes. But this excitability is difficult to be consistent and live with someone or stay at the same job a long time. So you tend to places where you're not, be easy for someone with a Uber taxi to go drive for Uber taxi rather than have to hold in a same boring job all the time.